that was cool. I'd love to show the whole thing, but I only get 18 minutes. At 18 minutes and 1 second, I'm summarily executed according to page 56 of the TED rules, the dark side of TED. I actually get to show, oh, I don't get to, I show that DVD in my lighting class. I get to call it teaching. It's great. Don't tell the dean. But unfortunately, Pink Floyd's a great band because they let the show be the show. But these days, there's a real cult of personality. So what you don't get is that so much. You do with some Trans-Siberian Orchestra, they still do that. But a lot of times you get this. People singing in front of a really big TV screen. I don't get it. So today, I'm going to talk about something I like to call forgotten design. We're going to start off talking about my area, performing arts. But first, I want to define design. And I like to take a real basic definition of design. Series of choices with an intended result. And I apply that to everything I come across. In theater, we work with design to tell a story, to create a mood, to transport an audience, to move an audience, to leave the audience with a message, to entertain them for a couple hours, to make them laugh, to make them cry. We build elaborate sets or simple sets. Costuming is a big part of it. But what people don't notice as much, well, more costuming, this is the good Sweeney Todd. I don't care which version you like, that's the one I like. I pushed the wrong button, hate that. We don't notice lighting as much, and the audience doesn't. And a lot of times when they do notice the lighting, they attribute that to scenery, really. But I'm okay with that, as long as I don't give the scenic designer a bad review, it works. We use lighting to tell the story, to set mood, time, place, style. Style is one of the things. Every show has its own visual language that it uses to speak with. So the lighting has a lot to do with defining what that language is going to be. Here's a good time of day example. This show's all about drought and time of day. Miss Saigon from Music Theater of Wichita. Basically, this set was a big white canvas that I got to paint on to create different looks for different scenes, different moods. Lots of different moods. It was a lot of fun. Very challenging show. Very moving show, too. End of Act 1. Sometimes light is not where you put it. Sometimes light is where you don't put it. So here's the family walking off into the sunset as they get to leave Vietnam. Hair. Sometimes in lighting we have to do period, too. And that's a little hard when you think about period costumes. You think about period paintings. Lighting is a little odd, because light really hasn't changed since, well, a couple million years, roughly. But the 60s, you think of those 60s colors. We play along with that. It's all planned. It's not accidental. A lot of drafting, a lot of paperwork, a lot of thought, a lot of meetings. Same with costumes, sketches, measurements, building. Believe it or not, they don't just go to JCPenney and pick that up. Set design. Sets are sketched. Directors, meetings with directors. It's all planned out. This is a great example. Here's the sketch, and here's the final result. There's also something I like to call the invisible design in theater. That's sound design. These poor guys, they got it the worst. They work strictly on a pass-fail basis. No one ever says, it sounded great. All they ever hear is, I couldn't hear. So, or it was too loud. They usually hear both on the same night. And I love hearing directors' conversations with sound designers. They crack me up. A lot of them go like this. Director says, I couldn't hear the lead actor. And a sound designer will say, you mean you couldn't understand what they were saying? Director says, yeah, that's it. I couldn't understand what they were saying. Sound designer goes, well, let me clarify. What you're saying is you could very clearly hear his complete lack of diction, right? Yeah, that's it. What can you do? Same goes for, I heard a director said, it's a peaceful scene, so I would like the sound of a soft, gentle breeze. And the sound designer waited a second, very patiently said, you don't hear wind until it's gale force. And of course the director said, oh, okay. Can we try that? And a lot of times when we're lucky, it all comes together and makes a really nice moment. But it's okay if you don't walk away from the theater thinking about the lighting and the scenery and that. We don't want you to. There's a saying, you don't want to walk out of the theater humming the scenery. You want to walk out humming the songs, right? So it's forgotten design, but that's okay. That's not, we're there to be forgotten, be absorbed. We're there to be part of it, to heighten your experience. Our design carries into many types of fields. You turn on your TV, you are looking at design. Anything you see on TV, I defy you to find something on TV that's not design. TV studios are big machines to do a broadcast every night. This TV studio only exists in a computer. Small market TV stations can't afford hundreds of thousands of dollars to build a new set every couple of years. So what are they doing now? They're parking their anchors behind a green desk in front of a green screen. And they're paying these companies to come design their own special little green screen set for them. Turn on the news. So on Sunday when you're watching the Super Bowl and they're here at halftime, it's a designed set. The guys who showed up are wearing what the wardrobe department put on them that day. Katie Couric in the first news slide, one of her first stops when she gets to the studio, wardrobe. She doesn't bring those clothes from her closet. They might end up in her closet, but she doesn't bring them with her. Again, sports studio. So Sunday when you're watching the football game and you see this picture, and it looks like they're sitting in that nice box overlooking the stadium, they're in a truck in the parking lot. Because in the truck, they can control lighting, they can control sound. Those anchors are watching the same game you are on the screen. Well, they're probably going to be watching it on 9 screens, but they're watching it on screens. Fashion shows, designed. It's not just the clothes that are designed. The runway's designed, the background's designed, the lighting's designed. Fashion Week in New York City employs a lot of people. It's a big business. All that stuff has to get put up, taken down, set up, rehearsed, just like any musical. Game shows, remember that one? That one's a little dated. But then along comes Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And they rewrote game show design. And actually, for about 5 years, every game show looked like this one, unfortunately. I mean, it was good, but new ideas, so now everyone's got to do it. But they really changed game show design. But some shows have been on a long time, and they're a little resistant to change. Believe it or not, this is not Charlie Sheen's actual living room. If there would, I'm sure there would be lawyers sitting around. It's a set in a TV studio. Movies. I love movie design. I love the fact that it looks so natural, those locations. But guarantee you, when they're shooting on location, that location didn't look like that a week ago. Painters have come in and repainted the buildings. New signs have been put up. Sometimes completely false facades have been put on. This looks like a great location, this prison in Shawshank Redemption. A beautifully designed soundstage. Very meticulously researched down to the smallest detail. If you see a nice snowy scene like, whoops, no, I just skipped one, cars. If you're seeing a car scene, they're not actually driving, thank God. They're being towed around behind a truck with a camera. But that's okay, because you really don't want to see the man behind the curtain. You want to watch the action. Conventions, they're designed. They're designed by a company with a set designer and all those people. This design actually provided some controversy. I don't remember exactly what it was. But I thought it was a cool design. It was different. Now, the people stuck in the seats behind that wall probably didn't think it was a cool design, but I thought it was very interesting. It was a breath of fresh air. It wasn't the usual convention design you always see. It's always this. Snooze. A recent Republican debate. I thought it was an interesting design because it was all blue. It wasn't the traditional Republican red. I thought that was very interesting. I really disliked the little podium designs. I mean, I understand the little red stripe there, but I kind of expected one of the candidates to chime in and say, I'll take states for 600. You think you can turn on the news and not see design, right? That you're going to just see a location shot. That's not design. It's a camera and a person. But they make choices. There's always something in front of the courthouse, right? That's become such a part of our dialogue. We don't even think about it anymore. But sometimes it's ever so carefully designed. Do you remember that? If that cameraman had taken 3 steps to his right, we wouldn't be talking about this now. But this is a very, very carefully aimed picture. That cameraman is a Democrat. Your world is full of design. When you buy a car, you think about design, right? You buy your phone, you think about design. You buy a toaster, you probably think about design. This toaster is actually a guitar amp. Isn't that cool? But do you think about design? Did you think about design when you sat in your chair? Actually, here you probably did, because these chairs are kind of funky. It'll force you to think about it a little bit. Auditorium design. Now, a lot of auditoriums are poorly designed, and that's not illegal. So these people are free to roam the earth doing it again and again. Pencils are designed. I actually prefer a round pencil. They're designed. Your Tupperware, someone has a job designing Tupperware. Actually, there's probably a team. Your menu is designed to make you spend more money. Here's a design we all get to hate, right? Your iPad. I wasn't going to include that, but then I thought about it and I thought, it bugs me that there's only one button. I'm a professional. I can handle more than one button. Your spatula. You never think about it until you have this. I got this one spatula. It's just awful. It's like all floppy. You never think about it until it's bad design. But just someone designed a spatula. Staircases. I spend a lot of time designing staircases when I'm designing sets. We take the rise, is it 7, 7.5? How long on a tread? We're going 10 inches, 11 inches. If I go 11 inches, how much bigger is my staircase? We think about it. But when you're using stairs, you don't think about it. You don't think about it if it's a successful design. You might think about it if it's that. And you're definitely going to think about it if it's that. If it's this, I'm going to call my insurance agent to see how good my coverage is before I tackle that. But back to the performing arts, it's forgotten design. We absorb it. We just see it. We're here to tell the story. We're here to transport you. We'll build really big things. But the audience is going to go home remembering that, aren't they? Right? But in the end, I always liken it to building sandcastles. If you go see a live performance, you're seeing that. But if you take a picture, it's not the same. If you record it, it's not the same. So closing night is like the tide coming in and washing it away forever. It's never going to be there again. Even if you're touring a show and you're doing it in a different theater the next night, it's never going to be the same thing. Thank you.